Hi guys, as requested I'm going to review what CarnivoreMD eats in a day. Very trendy.
What's up you guys? I am back in Costa Rica and I just got back from surfing. I'm going to show you guys what I eat in a day. I'm about to eat my breakfast.
Okay, because I was wondering why your eyes are so red, but it could be because of the surfing then. Either way, it's not healthy.
I'll walk you through all of it. Before I went surfing this morning, I got up at like 5:45 here in Costa Rica, did a little bit of movement. I'll show you guys another video with that. And I ate a little bit of fruit before I went surfing, just to kind of give my body that signal of abundance. So I broke my fast early. I actually don't like fasting throughout the morning. I want to break my fast.
You don't like fasting in general because no human likes to starve. Ever.
I had a little bit of honey and a couple of coconuts, and then I went surfing. And now we're ready to eat breakfast, which is probably the biggest meal of the day. I like getting...
It's also very funny how contradictory it is because he obviously recognizes that he needs food to do anything, basically, which is how it is for a human being or any animal. But then, of course, he only eats a little bit because he doesn't want to break his man-made fast.
In my protein early in the day, I think there's a real clear evidence for getting a lot of protein in the morning for anabolic stimulation, for muscle
That's not bad advice.
growth. I really enjoy local fruit in Costa Rica. This is all local fruit. These are coconuts that I like to drink the water from. I've got some organic...
It's local and, of course, way better quality than most of the stuff you can get nowadays, but the bananas for sure are man-made, so it doesn't really matter if they are local.
Bananas, an organic papaya, and this is a fruit. It's kind of like a lychee grown here.
Overall, though, that's a good fruit to eat if you eat any.
So this is going to be my breakfast. I'm not going to eat all this fruit right now, but I'm going to eat maybe one banana, a couple of these lychees, half or a quarter of this papaya, and then I'm going to have some honey with the food as well. Then we got the meat, which is the main course. This is what animal-based is all about. Most nutrient-rich foods, meat, organs, and the least toxic plant foods, which are fruit. So in terms of the animal foods.
Awesome. I really agree with what he's saying. Wow, this is one of the first times that this is actually happening.
Always going to be thinking about organs. I've got some heart. This is all grass-fed, grass-finished.
Awesome.
There's an amazing farm here in Costa Rica that I get this from. I've got a little bit of liver, about half an ounce of liver, which is going to go down this morning. That's raw liver. I'm going to grill this heart.
Wow. Awesome.
And then here, I've started to thaw out some testicles. I love eating testicle. I think it's really a powerful organ. If you don't have these organs, if you don't have fresh organs, I or you can get desiccated organs. That's why we do it in Heart and Soil. I've got my collection here. Show you guys. Whole package is the one with the testicle. I take that a lot. You can see the whole lineup there. You guys are familiar with what we do at Heart and Soil. In terms of
A lot of people don't like him because he sells his supplements and that's how he scams people. But maybe for some people who really can get their hands on organs, and that's basically not even possible in most places because it's very easy to get them if you really ask around. Maybe in very, very few countries, if you live in some absolutely remote place, but then again, how are you even going to get something sent to you?
right now, I've been feeling really good with a little more than 2 pounds of meat per day. I weigh about 170 pounds, 165, so I'm definitely getting 1.1, 1.2, sometimes even 1.3 grams of protein.
He looks healthy, I would say. He looks good.
Per pound of body weight every day. And then I think that the biggest question that I always get is fruit and honey with your meals. Do you eat the fruit and the honey with your meals? And the answer is yes. I don't really worry about food combining. When we were out hunting with the Hadza, they had a fresh kill. And while half of the tribe was hunting more for baboons at the time, another few of the Hadza hunters went with us and we found a hive and we ate honey. And then we were a few minutes later cooking baboon on fire and eating organs and sharing it with the tribe, with the Hadza. If you feel like you have a massive problem combining fruit or honey with meat, maybe there are things to eat separately, but for me, this doesn't bother me. I don't worry about this at all. And then people say, what do you do with the honey? How do you eat the honey? There's a lot of ways to eat honey.
Some fruit actually has enzymes that help you digest animal food, so it makes sense that it's not a problem for him. You just gotta know yourself.
Sometimes I just take it and I eat it by a spoonful. Sometimes I'll even put it on the steak. So that's probably what I'll do today. I'll show you guys how I'm gonna put honey on the steak, make honey steak. It's amazing. If I'm making burgers, I'll put honey on the burgers. That's
Cooking honey is really stupid though. I'm surprised about that.
That's how it goes. The other question I get a lot of the time is how many carbohydrates are you eating per day? So the honey and the fruit, I think if I'm ballparking it, I'm getting close to 150 or 200 grams of carbohydrates right now. I feel really good with this. I do not count my macros, guys. I don't count my calories. I don't count my macros.
Here's what I'm confused about. What does carnivore even mean for him? Obviously, it's his own definition that he made up, because if you go by this man-made popular diet that people follow nowadays, the carnivore diet, which has nothing to do with carnivores, when you eat only cooked meat, then obviously it doesn't apply to him because he eats all the carbs and so on. But when you take the actual definition, in the English language, biologically, a carnivore is an animal that eats at least 20% of raw meat, nothing cooked at all. So he's not a carnivore by any definition, but whatever.
I eat the most nutrient-rich foods on the planet. I eat organs, they're fresh, they're desiccated. I eat well-raised meat, grass-fed, grass-finished meat. And I eat locally produced organic fruit as much as I can. I get out in the sun, I surf, and I don't worry about calories, I don't worry about macros, I eat satiety. What I do with the steak is I just take some Maldon salt, put some salt on the steak. I like this.
Okay, that's the next mistake. Sea salt. Essentially, it doesn't matter what salt you use, because salt is a crystallized rock which accumulates in the brain, and at first it will cause migraines, and later you're gonna get the real problems. Salt is in no way needed, obviously, but it can only be bad for you. There's nothing in any way good about salt. I'll link my video I made about salt many years ago in the description if you want to learn more about it. But if you want sodium, eat any animal food. Do you want any other mineral? Eat any animal food. Salt can only cause an imbalance of minerals because it's loaded with sodium, and it's, of course, for the most part, indigestible anyway because it is a rock.
Salt is kind of a rough sea salt.
I understand, though, why people like him, who grew up eating cooked meat, just like I did and most of us, and with a lot of spices, salt, and so on, can't stop doing it.
Chefs out there would probably say that's a finishing salt. I'm probably using it wrong, I don't care. You might notice that I'm very simple with my spices. I'm only going to use salt. Do not use pepper. Do not use pepper. I'm not a fan of pepper at all. Pepper is a seed. Remember that in the way that I conceptualize things from an animal-based diet, you have to think about which parts of plants are the most.
Most of what he says is really on point. Great.
Toxic. And for me, it's pretty clear that plant seeds are quite toxic for humans. Plants put all kinds of defense chemicals in their seeds to dissuade us from eating them. Us and other animals. They put digestive enzyme inhibitors, they put enzymatic inhibitors. Pepper contains a compound called piperine, which inhibits detox.
I would still recommend using pepper over salt, though. Salt is way more dangerous.
Enzymes in the liver. If you want the full name, it's UDP glucuronosyl transferase. So pepper contains a compound called piperine that's going to inhibit your phase 2 detoxification in the liver. This is why compounds like curcumin, which your body is actually trying to get rid of, end up in much higher amounts, 2,000 plus times amounts in your body when you eat pepper. You don't want lots of curcumin in your body. Your body's smart enough to say, hey, this is not a compound I want. If you have more questions about why I'm not a fan of turmeric or curcumin, that's for a separate video. But there are no spices on this table other than salt.
Man, really good to hear somebody at last talk about turmeric and all of this garbage. Yeah, that stuff is toxic. Just awesome that I'm not the only one who says this.
Alright, let's go cook some steaks. Grill is hot. One goes steaks.
The steaks look so good raw, though. In no way would I ever think, oh, let's cook this to eat it.
Throw on the little heart as well. Get that some sear. We'll be good to go. Rhymes with the Hadza in Tanzania. They cook everything on a fire. So they don't worry about charring the meat, obviously, but they don't worry about cooking on fires. I've done a lot of videos in the past about meat and cancer. I think that the way that I'm cooking the steak on the grill, I'm not worried about this at all. I think cooking over a fire, cooking over a flame, is totally evolutionarily consistent and wouldn't worry about this.
Evolution is a religious belief. It doesn't really mean anything. It's not consistent anyway. It can't even be, except if you follow the man-made belief, and then it's consistent in your head.
Alright, so steaks are cooked. Got a pretty
Those are carcinogens on the steak, though. What exactly is that? It's just what's gonna make your cells mutate. Is this guy gonna get sick and develop tumors from eating the cooked meat? No, of course not, but it's obviously not optimally healthy by any means. It's still gonna cause some problems which he may or may not even notice, but it is what it is.
good sear on them. I might have overcooked them a little bit, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you guys one of the ways that I do honey. This is raw local honey here in Costa Rica. Though this may seem sacrilegious, I freaking love just taking the honey, putting it right on the steak.
Alright, I thought that he puts the honey when he cooks the steaks. That's why I was so surprised about it before. This is a little bit better. Still, you should in no way apply heat to honey because that's insanely unhealthy.
Don't knock until you try it, you guys. Alright guys, so I'm sitting down to my meal. I showed you how I like to put honey on the steak. Got the heart here, got the lychee, banana, some of the papaya, a little coconut water, honey, maybe a little.
Coconut water is hydrating. It's great that he drinks the coconut water.
I don't worry about my glucose levels. I do not believe there's an absolute glucose level that you don't want to cross. What I look at is my fasting insulin, which is less than 3, my C-peptide, which is less than 0.5, my HSCRP, which is less than 0.3, right? So I know that I'm extremely insulin sensitive, despite eating carbohydrates. Fructose in the food matrix does not cause insulin resistance. I'll repeat that. Fructose in the food matrix does not cause insulin resistance. It's not bad for you. This is a completely evolutionarily consistent meal. These foods are all sourced locally. The main issues are sugars removed from the food matrix and seed oils. So,
I absolutely agree.
I'm gonna wear a continuous glucose monitor in the future. We'll do a separate video of that. But what I've seen in the past, when I eat a similar amount of carbohydrates to this, is the blood sugar goes up, maybe to 140, maybe to 150, maybe to 160. I'm not worried about the absolute high. It comes immediately back down. The area under the curve is very small, and the insulin sensitivity remains quite exquisite. So don't fear fruit. Don't fear honey. I want to give my body a signal of abundance. This is abundance. Carbohydrates, meat, organs, nutrients. These are abundance. That's what you want. That's how you thrive. That's how you reclaim your birthright to radical health.
I'm not sure if he eats one meal a day because he talked about fasting. Maybe he doesn't, but if he does, then it makes sense why he eats all of this at once, because he's starving and he's obviously not listening to his own body because he eats by following man-made rules when he is allowed to eat, so to speak. That's why this looks like a bit of an eating disorder. Don't get me wrong, he's for the most part eating great foods and he gets a lot of stuff, but when I look at this, and if this is his one meal in a day, then it makes sense why he's so obsessed with it and why he prepares it and blah blah blah.
Alright guys, enough of this video. I'm gonna get after this.
Alright, that was the whole video. Really, there's not much to disagree with except for starving yourself on purpose. It doesn't look like he's too lean necessarily yet, maybe, but it could get to that point. I've seen people who do one meal a day and they show photos of themselves as if they're all healthy because they maybe lost a lot of fat which they had before, but then they get to a point where it looks like an eating disorder and they get skinny, they don't have body fat, they don't produce the right hormones anymore and so on. He probably knows what he's doing and he will know if he wants to start eating more and more often. Maybe I'm wrong about it altogether. Maybe he eats more meals a day anyway. Most of the people who do this start eating 2-3 meals a day after a while anyway because they can't keep up with it, seeing as it's ridiculous. And he even spent time with a tribe, and he should know that any natural human who has an abundance of food will eat as much of it as they can, as often as they can. The tribes or any kind of hunters, any humans in nature that ate one meal a day only did that because they didn't have enough food, as in they were losers from a nature's perspective. It's nothing that you should try to achieve. No human in nature wants to get to the point where they have one meal a day and where they stuff themselves full of food in the morning, for example, or whenever you choose to. That's ridiculous. But then again, he also believes in evolution, so he already has some religious beliefs that he follows, man-made rules. So there's definitely some work to be done, but hey, this could have been the best What I Eat on a Day video that I've reviewed, as far as I remember. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.